Hi guys, you join us on our first holiday of 2025, and this is a bit more of special is probably not the right word, but it's our first holiday in our new tow car. So we're really going to sort of put it through its paces, so to speak.
Yeah, we did our first sort of trial tow to a sort of short trip to getting the caravan service, didn't we? But that was only about 10 miles, but this is loaded and holiday
loaded
ready.
With weight, absolutely. But we're not actually going that far. So we live down on the south coast, just on the outskirts of Brighton, and we're only going to Reading, which, how far is that? It's about 82-ish miles,
I think 82, 84, something
82,
like that.
84 miles. I'm sure we'll put a little pop-up of the exact mileage. So this really is a test of how the tow car really performs on a bit more of a longer journey. I'm really interested to sort of see how efficient it's going to be. So we thought we'd bring you along on the journey with us. So if you've seen our last video, we now have a Tesla Model Y dual motor, which is an EV, which good for towing because it's got loads of torque, no gears or anything like that. It's great in that respect. However, obviously downfall is the fact that you've got to stop to charge the car, and you have to unhitch the caravan and whatnot. So that's probably going to be a faff. So really the main thing that I'm interested in doing on this journey, or finding out from this journey, is how efficient it is and what we can sort of expect out of a full battery. So thought we would take you with us on that journey. So we left home this morning with 94% charge, which I think on the it has like a guessometer to tell you how many miles range you've got, and it said we had 277 miles of range.
Obviously that's planning for normal, not towing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's if you were sort of driving solo, and I don't actually think you could realistically achieve that. I'd say sort of anywhere between 220 and 250 is probably quite reasonable. However, that said, that's just sort of based on my driving style. Yeah. So typically we drive on I don't know, is it called the A259, the road?
Yes,
that we
it
travel
is.
on?
It goes up the cliffs on long.
Yeah, so basically to and from work, it's like 15 miles. It's up and downhill, so not the most efficient route, but obviously that's the route that I do most of the time. So that's what the car has learned. That's how I typically drive. Obviously the roads that we're on today, we're on dual carriageway and motorway most of the way. So travelling 60 miles an hour, maybe 55, not sure, just want to see sort of how efficient it is. So yeah, it'd be nice if we can sort of work out some calculations on how many miles we think we can travel on a full battery.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, we're heading to Reading, but I don't actually think it's Reading.
It's just south of Reading, isn't it?
Just south of Reading, somewhere
in Berkshire. Wokingham, is it?
Wokingham or something beginning with B. I can't remember, but it's called California Chalet and Touring Park. There aren't loads and loads of campsites open because it's February, but we thought this would be quite well situated because we've got a couple of days planned in London this week. We're going to the caravan show in Birmingham, so it's sort of like a happy halfway house. I've got a friend that lives in the area, so I might meet up with her. We just thought it'd be a nice localish getaway, and from research that I've done, I think we could get there on one charge, but we've decided that we're going to stop at Pease Pottage. There's a service station there that have got Tesla chargers. We thought we'd stop there just so we can go through the unhitching, taking the car off to charge, rehitching, and basically doing that sort of cycle of charging, and just see how we get on with it, really. I'm not envisaging there being too many problems. I guess the only problem is there aren't that many caravan bays there, or lorry bays. So if we can't stop there because it's full, we'd have to carry on to Cobham services. So
yeah, and Cobham's only another 20 or so miles, because it's the first one on the M25, isn't it?
For us it is, yeah. So, and if we can't stop there, then I don't know, maybe we'll go to Reading services, but we're planning for Pease Pottage, and obviously we'll keep you updated on the journey.
We have done some trial runs on Pease Pottage, haven't we? And it's normally had a few spare spaces.
Normally, yeah. Whenever we've gone to like IKEA, which is in Croydon, so we often pass Pease Pottage, there have always been at least one spare bay. You watch today, that won't be the case, and yeah, ruin the video. But what can we do? We're at the mercy of the public and how busy the service station is, and actually that's real life, isn't it? This is going to be a real test as to having a plan B charger if plan A doesn't work out. So we shall see how we go. Hi guys, so we have just arrived at Pease Pottage, and we have arrived with 67%, which is 198 miles remaining. It's sort of calculated. I don't believe the mileage, but let's just use the percentage as a guide. And on average, just on this current drive, we've been using 550 watt hours a mile. So typically I average, what would I say before, about 280-ish?
270, 280, something like
yeah, around that. But we have got to bear in mind that it is winter. It's 5 degrees outside. Like I say, February. So this is like worst case scenario. I had planned to sort of drive at 50, 60 miles an hour. I did 60 most of the way here, but literally the last like 2-ish miles there was a police convoy escorting someone that had a flat tyre, so I suspect that skewed our efficiency somewhat, but it's looking like, what should I say, so we've used 27% of battery and covered 32 miles, so more than a mile per percent. So 100 miles from a full battery I think is realistic, and then that will leave us a nice buffer should we need it. So we're just going to go and put the car on charge, and yeah, I think it's quite quiet here, so if I can I'm going to charge it up to 100%. That's not breakfast. Oh, and get breakfast, absolutely. Normally that's not etiquette. Normally you would sort of only charge to 80%, but if it's free, like, not if it's free, but if there are available
like
stalls,
10 different
available chargers,
a little bit different if there's only 2, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to unhitch, fit the security to the caravan, and nip in. So the good thing about a Tesla is I'm now back at the caravan. It's on charge, and I can see how full the battery is here, which is quite good. So I haven't got to keep an eye on the car or anything. It's saying that it's going to be 45 minutes remaining to hit the charge limit, so it's all quite good, isn't it? So something that I forgot to mention in my last little bit of video was I set Pease Pottage as a destination, but not the Tesla supercharger, because I didn't want it to skew the efficiency results. But as a consequence, we are now charging only at 47 kilowatts. So it says if you click that, oh no, sorry, I'd already clicked it. Charge temperature is low, charging rate limited by low battery temperature. Vehicle is improving battery temperature to increase its charging rate. So I think, what was it, 40 minutes remaining until it gets to the charge limit. I mean, on the upper portion, sort of beyond 80%, I think the charge rate slows down anyway. So as the battery becomes more full, it slows down the charging rate. I don't know why, that's just the way it is. So normally it romps up to quite a high speed if the battery is low. Normally if you arrive with a low state of charge, you can generally get a higher speed if the battery's at the right temperature. So I think what I do next time, not that we're really we have any time restraints or anything, because we're gonna have to park here for 2 hours, but I think next time I'll actually plug in or put into the sat nav the Tesla supercharger, so it preheats the battery. That does consume a bit more battery, but it just means you can get a faster charge rate. Okay, so I've just come back and re-hitched up the caravan. In total, actually, it costs £11.05, but that's given us 100% and 294 miles. So the next part of the trip, I think it's 55 miles, is it, to get there? So
yeah, the map itself is saying 1 hour and 9 minutes. Obviously that's for a car though.
Yeah, so a car, yeah, without like going at 70 or whatever. So yeah, I'm expecting to sort of get there with, it'd be nice if we got there with 50%, like 45, 50%, I think we'll still be doing okay. So we shall see you when we get there.
Now your destination is on the left.
So So we actually arrived with 61%, but because we've done a little bit of manoeuvring back and forth, we've arrived with 60%, which is 178 miles. Once we left Pease Pottage and we're sort of travelling towards the campsite, after, I don't know, 15 or 20 miles or so, it suggested that we thought we was going to arrive with 62% and we arrived with 61. So I actually feel like that was quite accurate. So all in all, how many miles was that?
Well, I think it's about 50 from Pease Pottage through to here.
55 miles.
Like that, yeah. And
we used, 40% range to do 50 miles. So again, quite good. I have actually got... I'll probably overlay a screenshot, but we averaged 467 watt-hours a mile to do 55 miles. It's now the next day, and we didn't charge the car last night. So I think when we arrived at 60%, overnight we've lost 1%. So we're now at 59%. There aren't any Tesla chargers local to us, so we're going to head down the road because I know there's a what is it? Instavolt. They're normally quite a lot more expensive, but we're not going to drive 10 miles to go and just get some cheap Tesla electric. So what we're going to do, just to finish off this portion of the video, charge at Instavolt. That'll also give you a price comparison, show like the difference in cost, and we'll take it from there. We've actually just arrived with 58%. I don't know how far up the road it is, half a mile or whatever. We're in Instavolt. So I have actually got this Electroverse card, so I'm hoping that I can use this rather than my debit card. And what this does, I think it gives you, or in some locations it gives you a more preferential rate, and also rather than paying for it, it comes off your we're with Octopus, so it comes out of our electric bill. So I pay 200 quid a month or whatever for your electric at home, and it's just tacked onto that. So let's go and see if it works. Tap contactless card, authorising £15. I don't know if this works with this. It says it's authorised, plug in. Says it's charging. Let's hop. Here you go. Card finish. Card swiped. Session finished. For 59 minutes. 34 kilowatts delivered. Total cost £29.03. Ouch. Just cutting in and interrupting something that I've just said. So it said it was £29.03. However, when I got home, I checked the Electroverse app and I'd been charged £26.70. So I got just over a £2 discount for using the Electroverse cards. Would really recommend that, guys. If you're an Octopus, get yourself an Electroverse card. Hi guys, today's the last day of our holiday, so we're about to just pack up and set off home. And we managed to charge last night up to 100%. The car is now at 99%, so we've got a full battery, and we'll let you know how we get on when we get home. So we got home yesterday, and I've been looking through the figures. They're not going to be mega precise, as the kilowatts consumed and the mileage is all to the closest whole number rather than sort of like 0.1 of a mile or kilowatt. So there are going to be some slight discrepancies, but in all honesty, I'm just looking for quite a rough number. For us, on this journey, we travelled in February. It's quite cold, sort of anywhere between 6 and 10 degrees. Perhaps we would have got more preferential figures had we have done it in summer, but equally it could have been worse if it had been raining or there had been sort of a headwind or something. So I'm just taking these numbers as they are, and just going to sort of base my calculations on that. I'm going to have to look down because I've got some sort of notes written down to help me get through. So leg one of the journey was home to Pease Pottage. So as I said earlier, It was cool, sort of between 5 and 7 degrees. We covered 32 miles and we consumed 550 watt hours per mile, which sort of translates to about 1.8 miles per kilowatt. We started with 94% battery and arrived at Pease Pottage with 67%, so we used 20% of the battery in total. That came to £11.05, so roughly sort of works out to be about 35p a mile. And for every percentage of battery used, we travelled 1.18 miles. So leg 2 was from Pease Pottage to the campsite, so we covered a total of 55 miles, and actually we achieved better economy, so we actually got 467 watt hours per mile, which works out to be roughly 2.1 miles per kilowatt. And we consumed 26 kilowatts of power in total. So we started with 100% and arrived at the campsite with 61%, so we used a total of 39% of the battery. The cost for that was £26.70, and it worked out to be 49p a mile. Obviously with that we arrived at the campsite and then I had to drive down the road to get the energy, and it was more expensive, but it is what it is. And for every percentage of battery that we used, we travelled 1.41 miles. Leg 3 was from the campsite to home. We did that all in one journey, which was quite good. This was in 9 to 10 degrees weather, again dry, not particularly windy. We covered 88 miles and averaged 568 watt hours per mile. I would say I probably drove a little bit faster on the way home because I just wanted to get back, and I was confident that we had enough range to get back. But that roughly translates again to 1.8-ish miles per kilowatt hour. When we left the campsite, we left with 99% battery and we arrived home with 23% battery. So obviously using a total of 76% of the battery. That cost around £3.75 to charge at home. So roughly equating to about 4p per mile. So obviously really quite good on the way home. And again, for every percentage of battery that we used, we travelled 1.15 miles. So overall, the total cost of the energy used was £41.50, and in total we travelled 175 miles, which I don't think is too bad. You have to bear in mind some of these prices and things are slightly skewed because we actually left home with 94% battery when we went on holiday, and when we charged at Pease Pottage on the way out, I charged up to 100%. So I added 6% more battery than what we left with, which obviously slightly skews the results, but it is what it is. Like I mentioned earlier, the temperature was against us. Obviously, if it had been warmer, perhaps it would have been more efficient. But again, it could have been colder. It could have been raining. We could have had a headwind. So I think it's sort of safe to say, just based on these 2 journeys that I've done, I am going to keep a log of journeys as I go forwards, because it'd be interesting how much more efficient it is when the weather's a bit warmer. But I think we can comfortably travel 1 mile per percentage of the battery, and that will also build in a bit of a buffer. Obviously want to leave a bit in reserve. We don't want to arrive with 0%. I mean, it'd be quite nice if you roll in with 1%, but I wouldn't want to take that chance. So overall, love the Tesla. Really good tow car. As I mentioned right at the beginning of the video, yes, it's more of a faff to stop, unhitch the car and charge. But to be honest, we're on holiday, so we quite like taking things quite leisurely anyway. We'd probably stop every 100 miles or so just to go to the loo and maybe get a drink. Okay, we're probably going to be now stopping for a little bit longer to recharge the battery, but like I say, we're on holiday, so that doesn't really bother us. But I can understand that that might not be the case for everyone. It's one of those, it might suit your lifestyle, it might not. For us, we love the car, we love driving it solo, and this really is the compromise. But hey ho, it is what it is. I'm hoping this is going to be of interest for people that are perhaps considering an EV. For us, we had a really good experience. I'm sure in the future we'll probably have some bad experiences, but that is what it is, I suppose. Even when we had our diesel, I had a not very nice experience pulling up at a service station trying to ease my way in between 2 caravans that are parked right at the edge of the bay, making our bay really narrow. I'm not saying that's necessarily the same thing, it's just all part and parcel of having a caravan. I just find this really interesting, so like I say, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Would really appreciate that, as it does help our channel. Likewise, if you haven't and you would consider subscribing, that would be great. Hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified every time we upload a video. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye.